hear it? Okay, there we go. Um, it is 10:10 right there.
Oh, right on the dot. Look at that.
Good morning, Tanya.
Good morning, Adiba. It's awesome to be on here with you again. How are you today?
Doing great. This is episode 10. How cool is that?
Wow. Episode 10.
That's 2.5 months we've been doing this.
Oh my gosh, it's gone by so fast, I guess. We don't even realize it when we're having fun, right?
I know. And it feels so good because it's one of those things that it's so easy to, it's been such a big affirmation for me of how easy it is to get out of habit of not doing something that you want and getting busy like we're going to do with other stuff. So like we're going to talk about today. But it's that commitment to like, okay, I'm going to brush my teeth every day, right? And then, if one day something crazy happens and you rush out the door for whatever emergency and you just kind of like give yourself grace.
Mm-hmm.
You move on and then you pick that habit up. So this has really helped me a lot to feel accomplished.
And just getting up and doing it, I guess.
Yeah.
And having the that connection and the community and the support really helps a lot as well. So thank you thank you to both of us for always pushing each other. Right?
Yes, thank you to both of us, and thank you for those out there that are listening to the recordings and on YouTube and on the podcast. We're building a pretty cool audience. The ones that need to hear it will show up, right?
That's right. Absolutely.
Well, today, welcome everyone out there. If you're watching live or if you're listening to our podcast or YouTube, thank you for being part of our journey here. And today, as always, we're always excited to share more information for you, for everyone out there, including ourselves, to really step into our best selves, to continue to grow and evolve and live life fully.
Mm-hmm.
So while if you want to go ahead and share a couple of thoughts, gives me a minute here to share the screen.
Yes, I love our topic today because it's so easy to get, so involved in everyday life. And, whether you're doing too much or not doing enough or feel like you're not doing anything at all, and really just coming to terms with the feelings of, what makes you happy and making those connections and being fully present. A lot of just focusing on yourself and knowing yourself and being mindful about how you can create a life that you don't have to escape from.
Yes.
And so today, that's what we're going to be talking about, is being fully present instead of being busy. And thank you for this, Adiba, for getting us started with this beautiful slideshow.
Oh, thank you. And I'd like to, who was it that you got that quote from? How to live your life. How to say it again? I love that quote. I should have written it on there.
Live a life that you don't have to escape from.
Yes. And that was one of your mentors?
Yes, my Mel Marie from Mel Marie Yoga, Melissa Aguirre. She's one of my my mentors and a great friend. And she just says that all the time. And it really resonates with me. And that's why I wanted to bring that up today, is because it's going to be a big topic of our, a big focus of our topic today.
Yes. So we're going to cover, why are we busy and how to be more present, give you some tools and some food for thought so you can really make that shift in your life to be more fully present and live the life that you don't want to escape from.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the reasons that are out there, and you might have thought of these yourself, is that we are busy because it's as a badge of honor. And we're going to cover a couple of those topics more deeply. And one of them is going to be how busyness it's considered a badge of honor. It's a trendy status symbol, a trending status symbol of, like, yeah, you gotta be busy. I know that I've heard people like literally say, I'm so busy, but I love it.
Mm-hmm.
Constantly, and you're not able to get a minute with them. It's hard to even have a cup of coffee with them. And I've done it myself. I've heard myself, it's like, oh yeah, I just love being busy. But I'm learning to really evaluate busyness as a symbol of like, yeah, I'm running a business and I'm working and I have, and then compared to really taking care of myself.
Mm-hmm. And really not tying it into, it's your productivity and, understanding that just because you're busy doesn't mean that you're being productive. And if you're not busy, that you're not doing as much
right
for yourself or for your business or being productive in that sense. So, yeah.
I think it has become like, it's almost like, that thought has been put in our mind, like you've got to be busy to be productive. And if you're not productive, it's almost like you're worthless, right? Like, what do you mean you're going to sit down and take a couple of deep breaths, right? Mm-hmm. And I hear that work is like, oh, there's no time to do a stretch, like I gotta go. I gotta, so it's become like, and that it goes down there where, as far as job security, everyone wants to do more, it's expected. Those are the ones that are going to get promoted. Those are the ones that are good to have on your team. And it has it has a lot of negative impact, not just some, but it's become, business as a job security, who's going to take it from me if I don't work extra. Mm-hmm. And then the fear of missing out is just like, oh, I got to do this. And, if I, don't do all that stuff, whether it's, taking my family, on a vacation every single weekend and, just whether it's good or, quote unquote, good or bad, it's just like always wanting to do more with that fear of like, oh, I won't get it all done or I'm going to miss out on something.
It's definitely a testament to our society when you realize that there's an actual acronym, for that people live by and FOMO.
I know that I never thought about it like that, but it's kind of sad, huh?
Yeah.
It is. It's and we're the fear of missing out on things that are just making us miss out on a lot.
Mm-hmm.
It's like creating the opposite impact. And of course, the byproduct of the digital age. I've said that, and I've said that so many times. It's like now that we have the computers, and now that we have the cell phones, and now that we have transportation and all that, is that we thought we can have more time for ourselves. But I don't know what you think. Don't you feel like we have to do more now that we have more access to doing things faster?
Oh, absolutely. And it's like, if you don't get it done right there when it's in front of you, you feel like you're not getting it done in time or in a timely manner, as everything is right there at the tip of our fingers, and you no longer have to just like log into your computer to check your emails and catch up on them. It's just there 100% all the time. Yeah. And I mean, we're all human. We're all so used to that now, and it is definitely hard to kind of put it aside when you need to, and understand separating that making some distance, actually creating some distance between, just putting it down and also catching up when it's needed.
Right. And that's what we're going to focus on, more today, is how to have that balance and knowing the difference between, staying busy because that's what I should be doing because that's going to make me feel good, or, one of the business is as a time filler, like, oh, I've got to be doing something. And then as far as a necessity is because, I have to work 2 or 3 jobs because of, either, whether it's a divorce or whether it's, you have to take care of an elderly parent or whatever is like out of necessity. We just have to stay so busy. So there are a lot of reasons that keep us busy. And then also the other one that we're going to focus on a little bit more is the busyness as an escape. And our hopes is to, always to give you tools, so your tool chest is so full of great tools that you can pull out whenever you need them, so life can be lived more fully, and that it's not a life that you want to escape from.
Yes.
So the badge of honor it is such a big thing. And I know for years now, I felt it coming on because I definitely was there, going from no computers to the plug-in, like waiting for the modem to connect.
Oh my gosh, yes.
It's so funny because I remember sitting there and already starting to get anxious because I had to wait for the computer to load up, right? Like the modem to connect. And it was already like, my brain was already thinking, I've got to do more. It's like, come on. And now, if the screen is not up in 1 second, it's like, we need it faster.
I know. I keep envisioning, as you're saying that, I keep envisioning the little, like the modem with the little AOL guy, like,
oh yeah,
on the screen, like with the dots.
I know. And I can almost
12 minutes later, oh, we're online. Oh no, I lost the connection.
or I've done it where like you log in, you're waiting for the modem to connect, and you have enough time to run to the bathroom or get a drink. And you're like, okay, it's gonna connect. I know exactly. I can go to the bathroom, I can grab a drink of water, and then I can come back, and then hopefully it'll be connected.
Yes.
I can hear the sound of the modem. I can't repeat it, but I can hear it, like how it just had that sound, and you could tell when it's connecting.
Mm-hmm. You know what is the equivalent of that nowadays, or what gets me nowadays?
What?
I know this is like kind of along the same topic, but when you're scrolling on your phone, right, and you're looking something up, and then all of a sudden a notification pops up of an email or something, and your fingers are moving so fast and you're looking for stuff that it clicks on that notification by mistake instead of what you're looking for.
Yeah.
All of a sudden it takes you to the, and you're like, no, that's not what I was doing. And you got to go back and like go back into it.
And then
it bounces back and forth so much, and our brains are like, boom, 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 back and forth. That's another aspect of being busy as a badge of honor, is just being able to, just be still and just be.
Right. You said those are some of the things, well, first of all, it is not an honor when you think about,
Yes.
overloading yourself. And, there's so much. We talked about stress impacting our body and our physical health and emotional health and, just mental well-being. So all that plays together. We say that I like being busy, and I've heard that. I've heard like, and I know I thought that myself too. It's like, oh, it's so good to be busy and do. And it took time to like be able to sit down and make the distinguishing between like, oh, I don't want to do anything because I'm like feeling down, or I'm sitting here to refill my cup, or like put gas in my body, to get it going, like in a car. So we just, and then we wonder why we're stressed. That's such a big thing. It's like, I'm so stressed. I hear it so much also. We say yes to everybody, whether it's at home or at work with your friends, and then you start feeling some resentment, like, oh man, I'm just saying yes to everybody. And so that resentment builds, whether we like realize it or not. internally, when we are saying yes to so many things, that resentment will start building up, because naturally you're feeling that your cup is getting emptier, emptier, emptier. um and then we start telling family, like, as far as trying to do stuff with family and friends, we're so busy, just
Mhm.
don't have time for this. I don't know if you've heard that. Tanya.
Well, and I do it as well. We all do. I think the important thing to remember is that we're all going to be busy in our lives. It's
Right.
not that. It's just understanding of when you need to detach or detox from it and kind of slow down a little bit. I just went through a period of the beginning of the year where I was crazy busy, and I
Yeah.
just remember saying to my friends, I'm like, wow, this is the first full weekend I've had off in a long time.
I remember you saying that to me.
Yes. And being able to just, sit at the pool and do absolutely nothing and be okay with that.
Yeah.
But sometimes we get stuck in this rut of just going and going and going. And just, like we always say, just give yourself some grace and know that we all have busy lives. It's the important thing to remember is to know when it's time to,
Right.
Stop and take a deep breath, or separate from that super busy schedule.
I mean, staying busy is good. It's just becomes you neglect nourishing your soul and being so lost in that busyness, and having that busyness become more intentional than just being busy, like doing the work, intentional work, rather than just busy and as an escape. So busyness as as escapism. There you go. There's a mouthful for me. Uh, Busyness also is a defense mechanism to avoid feeling of anxiety, and I can totally so relate to that.
Sorry about that, Adiba. I know it was a little distracting for a second. My laptop battery was about to die, so I had to look for the plug and plug it in. I apologize.
I now started plugging mine all the time, even though it has a full battery. I'm like, because that happened to me one time. It's like, wait,
I was like, oh
no. And you start being in slow motion.
Yeah.
Many high-achieving individuals with anxiety ignore their anxiety by moving and being productive. I totally can relate to that. Makes so much sense now. Even as a child, now I see how much anxiety I had, and I was always wanting to do for others and get into more activities and do this and do that. And then as an adult, I was moving a lot. It's crazy looking back at how, I mean, it's become almost normal, people moving every few years. But it's sometimes it's just about avoiding that anxiety that's going on, and situations or relationships that are causing anxieties. We have a moment of relief. So when we're doing that, we want to do more and more, because it's like almost, I don't, so what do you think, Tanya? Because I see it almost like it's the opposite of meditating, right? Mm-hmm. So we're meditating and being present. We are not focused on what's troubling us and causing anxiety, but we refill our body and souls with this great energy. Whereas when we're busy and moving and doing, we also are not focused on what the negative or what's causing anxieties and all that. So it feels like a relief, but instead of filling our mind and body and soul with this good energy of the being still and meditating, we're filling our bodies with this stress, because physically and mentally we're getting exhausted. Like, do you see the correlation of how they both help us deal with anxieties or not feeling adequate? Or
Yes, absolutely. And honestly, it really comes down to, what works for you and how you function. I know some people are really good with planning and making sure that they do certain things in certain times. And then some people say that they really work well under pressure or under stress and like to spend like an entire day just getting everything done, getting all, whether it be errands or work or just busting it out all at once, and then feel that sense of relief.
Yeah.
And it really depends on, your personality and, like I said, what works for you. But I do understand that concept of having kind of like that pressure built up, and then that kind of let go.
Right.
Um,
You're using to really become very aware of using busyness as an escape,
mhm.
compared to being busy and productive to really live the life that you were created to live. Because when we're constantly uh, creating relief for ourselves by staying busy and not dealing with and working through the anxieties and the things that are causing stress in our lives, then it becomes this cycle from just keep on doing and doing and doing, and then avoiding the process of, like, say, I don't know, maybe it's a loss of a loved one, and instead of working through that process of losing someone so dear, you start working and doing and doing and doing, and then but that loss is a journey you have to go through to heal internally. And otherwise it just becomes this vicious cycle. You're always trying to avoid those feelings, and it doesn't have to be just loss, but it could be bad relationships or any disappointments in life. So knowing how to become very aware of that. And I know that Tanya, you'll be sharing also how to incorporate that with doing things with the whole family. So our kids, and that's a big deal, is how to bring our kids up so the next generation can really live well and more present and more productive in a healthy way.
Oh, yes, absolutely. And I also think it's really important to remember, like this next quote that you are about to read, that I guess I'll read it. You will never feel truly satisfied by work unless you are satisfied by life.
That's so.
And yes, it is so powerful, and it really hits home, but also understanding what gives you satisfaction in life. And a quick little example I want to say is that, when you say the word work, it has this connotation of that it's supposed to be universal for everyone. It's Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, this is work.
Right.
Everybody doesn't fit into that mold. And that's something that I've definitely learned about myself over this past year or so, is that, I'm not a Monday through Friday, like 9 to 5 kind of person.
Right.
That's okay. And being able to understand that, breaking out of that, well, if I decide I want to sleep in a little bit later in the morning and then get my work done, or if I want to stay up till 11 or 12 o'clock at night because that's when I'm most productive,
Yeah.
that's what works for me. And it may not work for everyone, but knowing what you crave and what creates that satisfaction in your life.
Yeah.
Truly important to become aware of, and knowing that you don't have to fall into these structures of, what we've created in society of what is a good worker or, a productive person, with my air quotes here.
Yeah, quote unquote. And it goes also for entrepreneurs, because entrepreneurship is such a big thing now. So many people are looking for ways to have their own business so they can have the flexibility. And I see there's that fine line, because to get there, now that shift is moving over, not to the traditional job, but it's moving over to entrepreneurship. And there's such a big message about, you gotta work so hard to be successful. You gotta do all this. You gotta do this. You got, and it's still the badge of honor. If you're not working so hard that you're not going to be successful. So there's still that. Unfortunately, I see it too much. That shift has gone from, having a job and working so hard to, okay, now you're going to be an entrepreneur. And then we're transferring this code of honor of working so hard. The more you work, then the more you're going to be successful, and finding that balance of, what satisfies you in life is what you were created to be. And when we get away from that, and we all have our own unique purpose, and connecting with that is so important, but it's tough. But Tanya and myself, we, as coaches, we can help you through that for sure. Just talking to someone and being very clear and connecting with your purpose is where it's at. Because then it doesn't, then you laugh at everybody that's, that thinks they should work, 25 hours a day. So, and definitely, connect with one of us for coaching to help you identify, what is it that is you, uniquely you, so you can live life that you don't want to escape from. I love that.
I know, I do too.
And here's that long quote that Tanya is going to read as well.
Yes. Okay, so here we go. I do not want to suggest that productivity is wrong or needs to be despised. On the contrary, productivity and success can greatly enhance our lives. But when our value as human beings depends on what we make with our hands and our minds, we become victims of the fear tactics of our world. When productivity is our main way of overcoming self-doubt, we are extremely vulnerable to rejection and criticism and prone to inner anxiety and depression. Productivity can never give the deep sense of belonging we crave. The more we produce, the more we realize that success and results cannot give us the experience of at-homeness. In fact, our productivity also often reveals to us that we are driven by fear in the sense. Sterility and productivity are the same. Both can be signs that we doubt our ability to live fruitful lives. It's beautiful.
It says it all, huh? And it's by H.J.M. Nowen?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
No, I love how it really explains that, productivity and success can really be so beneficial to our lives and to give us purpose and meaning, but also it is not the only thing in our lives that gives us purpose and meaning. And just over focusing on it, just like anything else, can really lead to stress, anxiety, depression, a lot of even mental health issues along the same lines.
Oh, what keeps popping in my mind is food.
Mm-hmm.
So we need food to nourish us, to stay healthy, to be productive, but we can't overdo it. If you do nothing but eat, that's going to have a negative impact. That's
so true.
Popped in my mind. I mean, so it's really, we want to be productive for the right reasons. I love that quote also. Let's see and then sometimes the most productive thing that you can do is to step outside and do nothing, relax and enjoy nature.
Just recharge, detox, right?
Yes. It is.
And detox.
And I'm such a visual person, just like visualizing that gives me some relaxation. It's just step back and like take a deep breath. Every day in the mornings I hear the birds, and now I'm in a habit where when I hear them, I take that kind of internal step back, whatever I'm doing, and just listen to the birds, and it brings me to this present moment. So I'm just grateful that I'm at that point with that. I'm learning how to find things that like trigger the thought. It's like, okay, take that step back So whenever I hear birds chirping, it's like it's an automatic reflex now. It's just mindfulness happens.
That's the ocean sound for me. That's what
Oh,
does it for me. The
yeah.
sound of the ocean, waves.
And I
Yep.
wish I had the ocean around all the time. One day, one day.
Yep.
We have to get a house for ourselves, Tanya. We can go escape every couple of weeks.
That would be amazing.
One day. So the next part is how do we be more present? Because our present is a present. I love that. I don't know why they use that same word, but it's so true. So some of the questions to ask yourself, and then we get into some very specific things that you can do. And Tanya, I know that we talked about you sharing some of those things, and some questions to ask ourselves to really take a step back and think, how much time do you spend on social media, in front of your TV, in front of your computer, away from your family, on hobbies. Sometimes hobbies can become work, just a distraction.
Yes.
Time are you spending at home? How much time are you spending with your children, family, spouse? I would include friends as well, because the positive people in your life, people that fill your cup up, and then serving others. Where is your time spent?
So, well, and understanding that connection between what you do and what you feel is so important. And just moving into talking a little bit about habits that you can create or things that you can do to really strengthen your relationship in your family or with your children, and really becoming more present in everyday life. Creating that connection and making that connection stronger is one of the reasons why children, willingly, are involved and want to interact and follow rules, because when they feel strongly connected to their parents, they want to cooperate. They want to have fun. They want to do things. They want to help out.
Yeah.
And as I've been kind of thinking about, this topic for today, and one of the things that I learned, which I kind of already knew coming in, but I didn't realize it was this. So I was just going to say, we always talk about hugs, aiming for hugs throughout the day and making those physical connections with your children, right?
Yeah.
And as a family therapist, there's a woman named Virginia Satir that she famously said, we need 4 hugs a day for survival. We need 8 hugs a day for maintenance, and we need 12 hugs a day for growth. Wow. I just thought that was so beautiful, because it really is the importance of making that connection. Just not everybody is physical, and it doesn't work for everyone. But if you are one of those people who love to hug, really, the next time that you hug someone, the next time that you take the time and really, put your arms around someone, pay attention to the electricity between the two of you. Pay attention to really what's going on, because you can feel and sense so much by just hugging a person.
Yeah.
You really can feel the love, you can feel the connection. And imagine doing that several times a day with your children, or with your spouse or any of your family members. Snuggling them first thing in the morning, last thing at night, every time you say goodbye, every time you're reunited or in between.
Yeah.
Just physical touch for some people really helps to strengthen that, being present. I'm here for you. I'm paying attention to you. What do you like? What do you want to talk about? And just bringing that up in general.
And then I want to say something, and it might not sit well with everybody out there. Yeah. To question, if you feel if you find yourself saying, I'm not the touchy feeling, hugging kind of person, maybe to take the time to step back and see why. Because as human beings, we thrive on that.
Yes.
So we are all born the same, with that same need. It's almost saying like, well, I don't need to eat. So that human touch is a basic need that we all have.
Mm-hmm.
I would encourage people that find themselves not wanting to be hugged or touched is to step back and say, when did that start? Because as babies, we thrive on those hugs. I mean, there's been research like from even years ago that unfortunately they tried it on actual babies, I think, where they didn't touch them and feel, hug them and all that, and how they didn't thrive. So I would like to, and I didn't even think about that before, but just because you brought it up, it's like to take that moment to say, if you find yourself, you're not the hugging kind and you don't want to be intimate in a sense of just emotionally connected, because when you hug someone, you feel their energy, like you're saying, is to take the time to see, to wonder, to talk to someone. Is like, why have I become this human being that doesn't want to be touched? And that could be a source of possible anxieties or whatever it is that, pushes you away, I guess, in a sense, from other people.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And actually, that's one of the things that I was going to discuss a little bit as well. And I'm so glad that you brought that up, because it's definitely in regards to, listening, empathizing, and welcoming those emotions and understanding, kind of like acknowledging all the feelings and understanding why you feel that way, or what creates safety for you in regards to your emotions, or what doesn't feel safe.
Right.
And this can be, I guess it all ties into kind of regulating your own emotions, especially when it comes to children and families, and being able to be present and be in the moment and not always just react. Because regulating our own emotions when we're, angry or tired or frustrated is probably one of the hardest parts of parenting.
Right.
But it doesn't mean that we're excused from giving it our best shot.
Right.
The same thing as, being productive or not being productive, too busy or not being busy at all, where there's always that fine line of understanding why you're doing what you're doing and what the meaning is behind that.
Right. Yeah. Because it's passed on.
Yes.
So if you get to that point in life where that's not comfortable for you, it's what we've learned. And what keeps me refocused is I want the next generation to break that cycle. So my kids and their kids, if they have any, that they are, I want to say, heal that missing link, or I don't know what other word to use, but we are who we are because of how we perceived and went through life.
Yeah.
But the exciting part is, like you're saying, if we know the balance and we work on it and be open with our own kids, then we're giving them such a powerful tool to live life much more fully and be more, not that they're not compassionate, but to be more connected, maybe.
Yes.
It's the word.
Like I said before, even just being able to listen and empathize and welcome those emotions.
Right.
Those are three things that I had discussed really quickly. It's just navigating through those feelings. And that can even be something as simple as turning off your technology when you interact with your child.
Yeah.
And, we're, like we said, we're all busy. Technology is a part of our world, our children's world. Like, it's just so embedded into our society now. But and there are going to be times where you're going to have to say, like, okay, mommy needs to make a quick phone call or check an email, give me 5 minutes and then I'll be back. It's just that communication, but also seeing that, they're important enough to you that you either turned it off or communicated with them that you just need a few minutes, and then you will be present, and you will, focus on that connection.
And be specific, because for kids, if you say something like, I'll be right back, or give me a few minutes, that could be like a second to them.
Yeah,
right?
That's true too, depending on the age. It's so right. Yeah.
It's like, it's 10:15, watch the clock. When, if they can't tell time, it's like, when it gets here, I'll be right back. But just make sure that our communication, like you say, at their age level, is that they get it, so that they don't develop this thing. It's like, oh, I'll be right back, and they leave their family for 2 hours. I guess.
And then they're like, wow, that was 1 minute. That's right. And I also think another important thing to remember too, for those of us who have teenagers or teens, or preteens, as they're going through, learning about themselves, learning about what they like and what they dislike, and being able to allow them to be, open and honest in that communication.
Yeah.
And, connecting before doing something, or before transitions, or going out. I've really noticed that those times that if the kids don't want to, like the older teenagers, if they don't want to do something specifically, or if they don't want to go out, we've all been there, done that before. Sometimes you just don't, and understanding why they don't want to do what they want to do, and work through that. Is it because it's a source of anxiety, or is it just because it's really boring for them and they just don't want to do it, but they still love you? They just want to do this one specific thing with you. So when I talk about like connecting before transitions, and just giving us the sense that they can like kind of work through that, and they need us to really, like, the word I want to maybe use, co-regulate, that they need us to co-regulate and help them work through those moments. So then they don't just give up on it and say, oh, fine, mom just won't let me do this, or, oh, she's making me do this, but understanding what it is that they're doing and why they're wanting to do that. And also, telling them, well, this is really important to me. I would really appreciate you showing up for this.
Yeah.
Teenagers are teenagers, and most of the time, sometimes it's going to work great, sometimes it's not, but just building that trust in those connections.
Yeah.
And helping them understand that.
The big thing that, as you were saying, all that is that communication part. And I love that, because in my, I don't know, I think probably in my generation a lot, and maybe or maybe just my family, maybe I'm so unique. No.
I was going to say, do I know what you're going to say or not? Is it going to just do it because I said so? No.
Right. It was
no explanation.
And when you have all these anxieties as a little kid, you just like, your feelings don't matter anymore. Like you don't know how to express them. You don't know how to verbalize them. And then you start doubting them, because the outside world, is like, no, you have to do this just because this. And then it's like, it becomes like, oh man, like what I think and what I feel, it's all wrong. And that builds anxieties. And then, and then goes into what we talked about earlier, is like, we want to do more because that's how we wear the badge of honor. It's like, you do, that's what people want. And it's like, so inside, everything is just like, becomes toxic, because what I feel and what I experience is all, quote unquote, wrong, because that's what this person is saying. That's what the world is saying I should be doing. So it's so important what you're saying, Tanya. I love it. I always say that, when it comes to kids, this is where we've got to start. It's one of the reasons we're here. The kids to we experience what we experienced because there was a purpose. Now our purpose is to get us back connected.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, even something as simple as food and having kids trying new food, like in our family, we do this thing where, like, you can't tell me you don't like it if you haven't tried it.
Right.
Once you've tried it, if you don't like it, I'll respect that. At least you gave it a chance.
Right.
You know? But that relates into life in general.
Yeah.
And being able to decipher, why you're doing something. Are you doing it something out of fear, or are you just doing it because, you feel like you have to, and also just slowing down and savoring those moments the same way that you would slow down and savor food.
Yeah.
Favorite meal, slowing down and savoring those moments with your children, with your family members. I talk a little bit about in my trainings and in my coaching, mindful eating, and just really, the process of, where it came from and how it got to, the table in front of you at this moment.
Yeah.
It's another great technique to learn how to be present.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. It's not so much about like thinking about it. And this is exactly the easiest way that I understood being present, is that when you're thinking about one thing, you don't have time to worry about something else that's worrying you. And in those moments, when you're being very present and intentional, it allows your body and your mind and your soul and your spirit to be full of that good energy and refill. Mm-hmm. Then you can do all this work, the good kind of work, to be able to be productive and successful and do what you were created to do. So being present comes up a lot.
Yeah. And, not only with adults, but also like with children, give them the, I don't know if this is going to be controversial when I say this, but give them the respect just as much as you want the respect to be given to you. So, reassure your child that, like, you hear their concern. If there's something going on, you want to help them solve it. And then just like you would with an adult in your life, like, follow up with them the next day.
Right.
Or check in with them and be like, hey, I just wanted to make sure you're okay. Like what we talked about, you'd be amazed at how much your relationship with your child deepens because you give them the same respect that you would want given to you. Obviously there's going to be boundaries there, between an adult and a child. You also understand that as well.
Appropriate respect, the appropriate age respect.
Yeah, the age appropriate respect. To really notice their feelings and why they're feeling why they are. And of course, sometimes they're going to be right, sometimes they're going to be wrong. And as parents, we have to understand that too. And it's not easy, but I think the most important part is just show up. And, most of us go through life half present. We're so involved in busyness.
Yeah.
And so when I was reading online, I read this, thought it was so interesting. It says, now that I brought that up about going through life, don't go through life half present.
Yeah.
A child has only about 900 weeks of childhood with you before they leave your home. They'll be gone before you know it. Yeah. And I mean, I can't tell you how many times we say, like, man, time flies by so fast. How are they already? They're 5, they're 10. Oh my gosh, they're graduating from high school.
39.
It's like this is we're never gonna get this right. But understanding that the same concepts that fall into play for us as adults are also for children, because we inundate their lives sometimes with busyness, with sports, and like every day after school we're here. I mean, I do it myself, don't get me wrong. Between having 3 kids and juggling every day after school, we're gone from 3 to 8:30, 9 p.m. and boom, 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 busy. But as long as it's stuff that they wholeheartedly enjoy and want to do, where it doesn't become a burden, especially if it's like physical activity, mental activity, something that really helps them socially. And it's not just the routine of staying busy because you want to expose them to everything.
Right. And also, I think it's also not just to expose them to everything, is to also question, are you doing it for you or that's what's expected?
True. Yes.
Because
Very true.
I mean, there are situations out there is about like, oh, my child is the best at this and my child is the best at that, and then the poor child is like, half asleep at school because they're working so hard trying to do this and that. And like you said, is communicating with your child, getting to the point where you're able to have that conversation. So again, they're not in that busy work starting at a young age, because that's what they're going to continue to do, and that's what life and that's what our world is expecting, is to mediate that process so they can be able to not busy because they're expected to be, but because they enjoy it and it's productive for them.
I'm gonna use an example of even something that we take for granted nowadays. But when we were younger, I even know when I was younger, we used to go on road trips or drive somewhere, and you had nothing to keep you busy.
Yeah.
But sitting in the car, and we were driving home from Laredo last weekend, I think. And my daughter, my 8-year-old, says, "Mama, I'm not going to use any electronics for the whole ride home."
Oh, wow.
Okay, that's wonderful. Like, let's do this. And it's about 2 hours and 20 minutes. And for the entire ride home, I just kept looking back at her. She was like talking, communicating, interactive, like looking out the window. I wish I wasn't driving. I would have taken a picture. Looking out the window, noticing things in nature. It was just so beautiful to see, and it even kind of sparked the other two to like, oh, look at this. Oh, that's cool. Look at that. I wouldn't, or even something as simple as like, look at the goats. Let's count. Oh my gosh, there's horses. I haven't seen horses on our drive home before. Like, wow. So anyway, it was just,
that's all because of you, Tanya.
once you start integrating that into your world and into your consciousness, it really does come so naturally.
Yeah. And it feels good.
It does. It feels so good. Yes. And I'm so like, oh, I'm so proud of her. She spent the whole 2.5 hours not on electronics, where back in the day it would have been like, well, we do that all the time. What are you talking about?
Yeah. It's a perfect example of how we've evolved into this expectations of being occupied by things, whether it's work or electronics, or it's like just keeping busy, and it takes us away from being, just being. And that is our focus today, is how to really be as a human being, because we are part of nature. Looking at the horses and the goats and just being present, it fills us up. It
does.
Allows us to heal inside. It allows our bodies to grow, to have that instead of that constant work. Work.
Yes.
This has been really good.
I think that was a wonderful way for me to end on. I definitely touched up on a lot of the, the couple of notes that I wanted to bring up in regards to, parenting and families.
And that is because when you do that, you can't help but transform your own life. Is that because when you do it for them, it begins with you. So that is such, because they're doing that now because of you, Tanya. This is so incredible. This is awesome.
Oh, thank you.
So wonderful to see. I mean, and I hope whoever is listening, they just get that one little thing that will motivate them. And then if you don't have kids, and if you're on your own, maybe you're in a place in life where life seems like you're all by yourself, start with you, take a step back. Why are you all alone? You don't have to have tons of people in your life, but we do need people in our lives, and hang around people that are positive, and watch kids do things without the electronics. It's really we can learn a lot from them.
Oh, absolutely.
So
Absolutely. And that's what I mean by when I say, you know, kind of give them the age appropriate respect
yeah,
is just important as, you know, you wanting them to respect you.
yeah,
I think that's very important in
it is.
parental relationships.
And give yourself grace, like we say.
Yes. Yep.
And,
And laugh
laugh.
out loud. Laugh out the anxieties
That's
and
right.
everything that makes you feel disconnected.
Laugh out loud, because you know the world is gonna keep on going, whether you work, you know, 100 hours a day or you work just enough to really be productive. It's gonna keep on going. But give yourself grace. I love that. Live the life that you don't want to escape from, that you want to be in, right? You live the life that you want to be in. And we're both here. I know I'm here. I know you're there for everyone else, Tanya, right? With the coaching, the counseling, the support. So we can wrap it up.
Yes, yes, absolutely. And, you know, I know we've said this before, but if anybody needs to reach out, if anybody needs help or any advice or just wants to chat, you know, reach out to us on Facebook or, you know, Messenger or message us. There's so many different ways of communication nowadays. Flag us down somehow.
Like I said,
Yeah.
on YouTube, on the podcast, on Spotify, on Facebook, probably on the other social media soon as well. But
Yeah.
it's always 1010 Talks. We're here to help you live well, to step into the best you, to live the life that you want to be in.
Mm-hmm.
And
I
go
love that.
with a lot of what?
I said, I love that.
Oh,
The life that you want to be in.
yes, it's exciting. Thank you, Tanya, for
Thank
being.
you, Adiba.
You're
And
welcome.
thank you everyone for tuning in.
Yes,
And
thanks to everyone.
yeah, until next week.
Until next week, we'll see you on 1010 Talks. Love you. Bye.
Bye.